I'm Pieter van Eck. I'm 61. I have COPD Gold 4. With André Nijberg, we did a consultation about a survey that he likes to do on muscle fatigue with COPD patients. We discussed the survey questions, and the first session we said, well, you have to get patients involved. So you need to speak the language of the patients, and you need to know how patients are driven. So don't burden them with too much information. Use emoticons, use images if you want to get your questions on board. The patient's input is always important because we'd like to help the researchers help us, and therefore they need the patients to get them in the right direction. And in this case, it helped because he adjusted his survey on quite a few issues. Also the language and the language barriers. We spoke about the way you question and the way you fill in the survey to involve patients as research partner. And it is of the biggest importance that you are able to understand the patient's needs. And we are able to tell researchers what we want and what we need.
So I'm a research fellow in respiratory science in Professor James Chalmers' lab at the University of Dundee. And so I was the lead scientist for the GREAT 2 trial. So I was involved in things like designing the translational endpoints and analysis, sample collection, and now that we're at the end of the trial, the laboratory data analysis. So infection with Pseudomonas, which is an opportunistic bacterial pathogen, causes exacerbations and decline in lung function in people with the common chronic respiratory disease bronchiectasis. Myself and my colleagues had conducted research into a new antibody treatment against Pseudomonas, showing in the lab that it helped the immune system to kill this bacteria more effectively. We therefore wanted to conduct a proof of concept trial in patients with bronchiectasis who also had chronic infection with Pseudomonas to see if the treatment was able to reduce bacterial burden and improve quality of life in people with bronchiectasis, and this became the GREAT 2 trial. The GREAT 2 trial was led by EMBARC, and for many years EMBARC had worked with a patient advisory group, also called the PAG, led by the European Lung Foundation, which represents people with bronchiectasis. And designing the trial was done in partnership with patients from the PAG. A large group of patients provided input into the trial design, and then 3 patients actually joined the trial steering group and were there with us throughout the study. So I think patient input made a really huge difference to the design of the GREAT 2 trial. And so patients were really with us in the study every step of the way, from the first meeting with the ethics committee to writing the study report at the end. The trial that we did, the research is translational, and we kind of took this from bench to bedside. So we did initial research in the lab, and without the kind of patient involvement in this trial, I don't think it would have been as successful, and we wouldn't have got the information that we needed out of it. So for example, the inclusion of things that are important to patients and their opinions on what kind of endpoints are important to them really helped us to design something that would ultimately have an output that mattered to patient lives.
I'm affected by sarcoidosis until 1990. I'm a doctor in dental surgery, and I founded the Italian Association of People Suffering Sarcoidosis 12 years ago. The task force for the renewal sarcoidosis guidelines was requested with Bob Bofman representing doctors from the ERS. And the Patients Association was represented in the group by Bernd Quader from Germany and me, and worked together to build up new guidelines after 20 years was a very incredible experience. One of the first actions of the task force was that all the European Association involved to distribute a survey from what the patient hoped to achieve from the proper management of their disease. It was a great international collaboration which resulted in a publication of a scientific article signed by eminent clinicians and patient representatives from countries involved. 8 years after, this publication is still used as a base for the research in sarcoidosis nowadays, and it is a great achievement. To this day, I believe it's essential to have a representative of citizens affected by the pathology within context where medical planning and research take place. In this sense, the work that ELF carries every day out is crucial and invaluable because it is important structure that let us patients and doctors work together.